All right, I'm back. And it's been like a really long time since I've done an opinions video. So it's about time for me to do the thing, where I say something that I think is totally reasonable, but somehow alienates like 80% of my subscriber base. All right, so like a few days ago, BMW came out with a new version of the M2, and everybody on social media is kind of freaking out about it.
Yes, 4-cylinder. You have all these options. You want a G87, and they hand you a B48 like it's a toy in a cereal box. Like, what does it even mean to own an M car? Are we gonna have to start paying for monthly subscriptions for our M badges?
And I think everybody's wrong. So basically, the big controversy is that BMW came out with a new version of the M2 called the M2 Racing, and it has a 4-cylinder engine, and not just like any 4-cylinder engine. It's the base B48 from the 230i, the 330i, and the 430i. So a lot of people are really upset because they feel like this is a downgrade compared to what the M2 actually is. And I think a lot of people are reading the room wrong and are just coming up with highly invalid opinions. And so like, what do I mean by that? At the end of the day, like, I think the very first thing you have to do is look at the name of this car. This car is named the M2 Racing because it's a race car. Like, this is not a street car. BMW has not indicated in any way that the B48 is going to be replacing the S58. They have not indicated in any way that the 4-cylinder is coming to the M2. And like, the thing is, like, everybody's like freaking out like BMW is going to like forcibly come to their house and then take the engine out of their M2 and replace it with a B48. This whole thing's being like blown out of proportion because, like I said, this is a race car. This is not a street car. And I know all the BMW hot boys out there think that BMW is just building cars specifically for takeovers and doing burnouts and sliding around in a cloud of your own smoke. But when it comes to race cars are a lot more serious than that. And race cars play by like very rigid rules. Right now, BMW already races the M4. This M2 Racing is not replacing the M4. So the M4 already races in GT3 and it races in GT4. This M2 race car is really designed to give BMW more options when it comes to providing cars to customers who just want to pick up a car and then race in any series. When it comes to racing series aren't like freeform and open. There's a lot of rigid rules as to how things work, and like very often what the race organizers are looking at is engine displacement and horsepower. So like, if BMW wants to offer a race car to customers who are competing in a class series that is restricted to 4-cylinders or is restricted to 2 liters, BMW has nothing to offer them. And like, that's just a huge market gap, especially if you make a business out of selling race cars direct to teams or direct to customers. So it makes total sense that they would make a 4-cylinder option of the M2 because it allows them to be able to have more customers. And like, when I said this on TikTok, I didn't make a video, but I commented on somebody else's video and everybody wanted to jump down my throat and say that the M2 Racing has 313 horsepower. And when the Super came out, the Super had 333 horsepower, which I know, I made that video. But anyway, the Super had 335 horsepower, right? And so why didn't they just take that original version of the B58 and then put that in the M2 Racing and then reduce the boost slightly? Honestly, I think that would be the worst of all options to do something like that. You have to consider the B58 is 33% smaller than a B58 because it's a 4-cylinder version of the B58. It's a smaller version of that engine. So for one, like, you're going to have a huge weight reduction. The engine's 33% smaller. It almost kind of feels like BMW knows that the M2 is too big and too heavy. And what BMW is doing to rectify this, especially in series that have BOP or balance of performance, it feels like what they're doing is covering over the weight problem of the M2 by giving it a smaller engine that is physically smaller and weighs less. The other thing about the M2's engine being physically smaller, or the B48 being physically smaller, is I don't know if you've ever seen under the hood of a B48 car, but there's like a huge Grand Canyon of space under there. Because, well, again, 33% of the engine's missing. But like that's actually kind of an advantage when you're looking at building a race car, because what you're looking at is chassis dynamics and weight balance. If the engine is now 33% shorter and the engine was already placed in a good position for the 6-cylinder, you're now actually placing the whole engine behind the front axle. Even though this is a front engine car, you're now able to put this engine all the way behind the front axle. And so there's a lot of people like just freaking out about this M2 and saying that BMW made the wrong decision. They should never put the B48 in it. BMW, they know what they're doing. Now, I think this is a good idea because ultimately, like I said, at the end of the day, it's going to open them up to more customer bases. So if you're looking at a racing series that, like I said, restricts power, or if they restrict displacement size, this is going to be a perfect option. You get all of the advantages of an M2, but now your engine allows you to be able to compete in all of these different classes. What I will say though, I think my biggest problem with the M2, and it's not really a problem, but more so like a concern and a question that I had as to why they chose to design it the way they did is, and it's not just the M2 Racing, the M235i Racing was kind of the same thing too. Both of those cars, their gearbox is a ZF 8-speed, and I think that's a fabulous transmission. In fact, I've been trying to get one because I want a ZF 8-speed swap my E60, so watch this video, share, like, do all the YouTube stuff so I can get paid and actually like build a car. But the ZF 8-speed is a great transmission, but it's a street car transmission. And I know everybody's gonna say, well, I put a tune on my Hellcat and that thing shifts real quick, man. It's not as fast as a DCT. And I feel like when you're looking at a race car, yes, you can get a ZF to shift in 200 milliseconds, but a DCT can shift in 100 milliseconds. And I know that 100 milliseconds a time, that doesn't matter on the street. That at the end of the day, you racing in between the lights, trying to, you know, gap an Audi or something silly like that, that 100 milliseconds doesn't matter. But over the course of a racetrack, over the course of a lap, that 100 milliseconds really adds up. And I feel like there's like time being left on the table. But again, BMW may have just done this to overall lower the cost of the car, which then makes it more accessible. So I can understand it from that viewpoint. But in terms of like the ultimate performance of offering the best straight out the box kit for just like a 4-cylinder race car, it just would have been really nice if BMW would have gave us the option for a DCT. But I don't know, it kind of seems like BMW has moved on from the technology kind of like they did with the SMG. But overall, that's pretty much all that I really had to say. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to make a video because it feels like every article that I'm reading, and it feels like every TikTok post that I come across and every Instagram post that I come across, everybody's just like taking shots at BMW and saying that BMW's lost their way. And I definitely do think BMW's lost their way. And if you've been subscribed to this channel, you know what I've been talking about. I don't really recognize this version or this incarnation of what the company has become. I don't think they make bad cars, but just very, very interesting choices. It's almost kind of like for years and years and years, they stuck to history and heritage, and then just like one day in the mid-2010s, they just threw that all out the window, and they were just sailing a new way. But the M2 Racing is not the reason why. The M2 Racing is designed exactly how I think it should be designed. So if you like this video, do all the YouTube stuff, which is like, I don't know, ring the like button and lick the subscribe button. I don't know what you do on YouTube, but just do the thing, and maybe I'll make another one of these opinion videos.